morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk about Snom. Snom is probably, as it stands at the moment, and we still need to think a little bit, but I believe that my very favourite Pokemon from Sword and Shield is Snom. Snom is so cool. Do you want to know something really cool? Snom's good. Well, okay, right. Let's be clear about this. Snom isn't particularly great. But Snom's evolution, oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we like Snom's evolution. Now, what's his evolution actually called? Frosmoth. There you go. I'm going to be honest with you, right? I'm not a huge fan of Frosmoth. I think Snom is so cute and adorable, and Frosmoth can kind of meh. But look, Frosmoth's the one that's good, so let's talk about Frosmoth. So, what we have here is 90 HP, which is kind of low, granted, and a retreat cost of 2, which is kind of annoying because it means you're not able to use U-turn board. And a weakness to metal. Now, I'll be honest with you, right? Weakness to metal is actually not too bad. On the one hand, metal hasn't been good. I mean, stuff like Lucario and Melmetal's the only good stuff we've had. But the problem is we're getting that Metal Patch card, which is literally just Aqua Patch, but for Metal Pokemon. So maybe Metal gets a lot better. Having said all of that, you got 90 HP, right? So does it really matter? The answer is probably not. But you are a water Pokemon, and water Pokemon's quite nice. It means that you can get a little bit of extra healing with something like Lana. It means you're hitting weakness against stuff like Reshiram and Charizard. It means that you can move your energy around the board quite nicely with Quagsire. So, yeah, I like it. But the thing is, this is the first non-GX Pokemon that I have actually had a look at from Sword and Shield since the whole set dropped. When the whole set dropped, I went through all the V Max, and I've been going through all the Pokemon V. This is the first non-Pokemon V that I've looked at. So you know it's pretty gosh darn good. What does it do? As often as you like, during your turn before you attack, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your benched water Pokemon. Oh! Yeah, that'll do, Pig, that'll do. It's Rain Dance. Now, it's not exactly Rain Dance. We'll get to that in a moment. The thing is, we've seen this attack time and time and time again. In fact, we saw it with Blastoise right back in the base set. Blastoise in the base set had Rain Dance, which just allowed you to attach a water energy from your hand to your Pokemon as often as you liked during your turn. Blastoise was good, and we've seen it a million other times. The first deck I ever took to a national championships was a Feraligatr focused deck, and the Feraligatr from Heart Gold Soul Silver, as often as you like, allowed you to attach a water energy to one of your water Pokemon. Now, it must be stated that the Blastoise from the base set also was only to a water Pokemon. And we've seen this more recently. I mean, the Blastoise that it's still quite good and expanded, to be fair. But the Blastoise that came around in Plasma Blast, or at least was reprinted in Plasma Blast, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Now, what was so good about that Blastoise was that it actually allowed you to attach to any of your Pokemon, whether they were water or not, which is why it was such a good combo with Black Kyurem. But it's also been an amazing combo with Keldeo, who was a water Pokemon. So, just to hone in then, only water Pokemon, and this is the big new change here, the big difference, only on your bench. It is only to water Pokemon on your bench that this can be accelerated. And that does make a difference. Now, to be fair, cards like Malamar and before that Electric and all the other ones that have done it, they could only accelerate to the bench from the discard anyway, so it's not a huge problem. But it is very much worth pointing out that this only allows you to accelerate energy to your bench Pokemon. But there is another big difference between Frosmoth and all the other Pokemon I've mentioned in this video, and that is that this is a Stage 1. You see, all the other Pokemon I've been talking about, they're all Stage 2 Pokemon. Blastoise, Feraligatr, these are Stage 2 Pokemon. Now all of a sudden we're doing the same thing on a stage 1 Pokemon, and believe me when I say, ladies and gentlemen, that is a huge, huge difference. Now all of a sudden there's no rare candy, and there really are two things that are different here. Firstly, you got way more space in your deck. Because now instead of playing your basic and your stage 2 and either your stage 1 or rare candy, you're just playing your basic and your stage 1. Secondly, you can just evolve. If you want Frosmoth, you just play Snom down, and then you evolve. There's no searching for rare candy, there's no trying to break the rules of the game, there's no evolve into Wartortle this turn so you can evolve into Blastoise next turn. None of this. You just evolve. And it's so wonderful, and it's so much faster, and it's so much easier, and not to put too fine a point on it, but it's so much better. It makes such a gigantic difference. And now, essentially, every water deck just became instantly better. Every water deck just became far, far better. Because you see, yes, Blastoise has been good for a while, and yes, Blastoise is still good and expanded, but it's good and expanded because of Archie's ace in the hole. That's what makes Blastoise so good. Stage 2s just aren't that good at the moment. And you see, we've got this ability on Stage 2s right now. It's 2 of them and they're both Magnezone. We got Magnezone from Forbidden Light that can accelerate as much lightning energy as you like. And we got the Magnezone from Ultra Prism that lets you accelerate as much metal energy as you like. Cool. But no one plays either of those cards, because they're Stage 2s, and Stage 2s are too slow. Stage 2s really aren't seeing a lot of love. Now, to be fair, we are getting really good Pokemon Search like Quick Ball coming this time round in Sword and Shield, so that is going to help. But being on a Stage 1, it's hard to overstate how much better this is being on a Stage 1. Because Stage 1s do see an awful lot of play. People do not mind playing Zebstrika, the one that lets you discard your hand and draw 4. People have no problem playing stuff like Ninetales in Fire decks, the one that lets you discard 2 fire energy from your hand and then just gust up a Pokemon. We're cool with playing Stage 1s, but Stage 2s are kind of awkward. And bearing in mind at the moment, we don't have good non-GX Pokemon Search. So when we're playing these cards, we're basically playing them with Pokemon Communication. And maybe like Professor Round's Lecture if we're lucky. And now, we're going to have Quick Ball to search out our basics, and we're going to have Evolution Incense, which is going to search out our Evolved Pokemon. And now we're just trying to find a Stage 1. This is going to work. This is going to be wonderful. Now, do remember it only lets you accelerate energy to water Pokemon. So, Pokemon we might really like that are colourless, like that Cramorant V I showed you yesterday, that does 160 to your opponent's bench for free colourless energy, won't work. Which is super annoying because Cramorant is flying water. Cramorant should be a water Pokemon. It would have the same weakness, but then it would also be able to hit something for weakness, whereas for colourless it doesn't. But you can't because Cramorant is a colourless Pokemon, at least Cramorant V is, so you're not able to accelerate the energy over to there, and that's kind of upsetting. But how about something like Palkia GX? Palkia GX has a great GX attack that literally gets rid of all of your opponent's energy for 5 energy. And that's expensive and that's awkward, but actually it's really not that bad now because off you go. Volcanion Prism Star is really nice. We like Volcanion Prism Star. Love the ability to discard a water energy from your hand, your opponent switches their active. But also for free water energy, 100 to the active, 20 to all of your opponent's bench. Well, great news. That's not so bad. One that I desperately want to work is the Wailord from Celestial Storm. That's got 220 HP, and for 4 water energy, you do 200 damage, minus 40 for each damage counter on the Pokemon. So you're going to want to do a bunch of healing if you're playing around with Wailord, but now all of a sudden it's 2 Stage 2s. And that seems like it might actually legitimately be viable. Bearing in mind, all the way along, you've got Quagsire, which is able to just move the energy where you want it. We've got White Kyurem, that if you put 2 water and then a fire on, does 160 damage. So use the fire as your attachment for the turn, and then put the 2 water on as and when you like. And I could keep going here, but I think you get the point. Any water Pokemon instantly just becomes way better. Actually, one more example. Dugong here is going to love this. Dugong can use triple acceleration energy, but Dugong can also use this. Now, please do remember you've got to be on the bench in order to accelerate energy to Cramorant. Kyurem, there's another really good one. The Kyurem from Unbroken Bonds, which does automatic paralysis. That's going to work quite nicely. The Golisopod that came around in Unified Minds, that for 4 energy does 180 if it was on the bench and became active this turn. All of these Pokemon start going, oh, it's a little bit expensive, and then you go, oh, wait a second, Frosmoth's got your back, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the thing, this is going to be legal in the format for a couple of years. Well, it's going to be a lot of water Pokemon revealed in the next couple of years. Make no mistake about it, this is an absolutely ridiculous attack, and I know it's only attaching to water Pokemon, and I know it's only attaching to your benched Pokemon, and neither of those facts worries me at all in the least. This is a great card, and I think water decks are coming back with a vengeance because of this. The fact that it is a stage 1 rather than a stage 2 is gigantic, and this just gets all your energy and you're rolling. Now, as a side note, there is an attack on Frosmoth here, but it's 2 energy, 30 damage, right? The attack sucks, we don't care about the attack. This is all about the ability, and for my money, it's one of the very, very best cards in Sword and Shield. Which makes me delighted, because even though I'm not using Snom for anything other than evolving, and this is my new pet deck, because I can put Snom in a deck! And that makes me happy. I'm giving it 5 Wassies. You can argue with me in the comment section. I love this. I think it's brilliant. And I think it's going to make all these water decks way better. The only real question then remains, what's the best partner for this? I'd like to know your opinion, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that actually don't even have Pokemon in. But we don't care. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.